DETV News is brought to you by DART, Delaware Public Transit Service, moving you forward.
One major hospital has changed its stance on whether employees must be vaccinated, and it's not sitting well with some staff. Coming up, what they plan to do about it.
Plus, 2 school districts are offering paid incentives to employees who get vaccinated. We've got the details.
And we've got the latest in local sports, so stay with us. Hello and welcome to DETV News, your trusted news source. I'm Lauren Wilson.
And I'm Matt Ford. Thanks so much for being with us.
Matt, those stories are ahead, but first, Delaware's COVID cases are going in the wrong direction. And that's why Delaware Governor John Carney announced a new recommendation for unvaccinated people in the state. The chief executive joined health officials in calling for unvaccinated people to undergo weekly testing. Why? Because the Delta variant of COVID-19 continues to spread, with the numbers rising dramatically. While vaccinated people can get the virus, their symptoms tend to be mild, and the majority of cases occurring in Delaware are among the unvaccinated. Fully vaccinated people are recommended to get tested 3 to 5 days after being exposed to someone with the virus, but health officials say they do not need to quarantine.
In other COVID news, Delaware's largest private employer, ChristianaCare, announced it will join a growing number of healthcare systems and hospitals nationwide, requiring all staff be vaccinated for COVID-19. Until the announcement, it was hospital policy that vaccines would not be required. Now, all employees, students, volunteers, and vendors must receive their first dose of a 2-dose vaccine or their single dose of Johnson & Johnson vaccine by September 21st. That's according to a hospital statement. Now, a spokesman says that roughly 71% of the hospital's 14,000 employees have already received the vaccine, and officials are verifying the status of the rest. Dr. Janice Nevin, president and CEO of ChristianaCare, said the highly transmissible Delta variant and surge in COVID cases among unvaccinated people across the country prompted this change. We spoke with one employee who says the hospital system's mandate is simply going too far.
The ability to have informed consent, be informed of all the side effects and risks, and make that decision on our own, just as we would our patients. We argue that every day with our patients. We inform them of all the risks and benefits, and we allow them to make that decision. We do not mandate any health care on them that they are not willing to receive. We just expect the same in return. So the rally on Saturday was organized for the purpose of protesting the mandate. Not in any way, shape, or form is this rally meant to be anti-vaccine. It is anti-mandate. We are pro-choice, pro-medical freedom, pro-informed consent. We want the public to know that we are also fighting for your rights. We stand outside our organization. We risk termination. We are risking losing our lives. Our families' lives might be turned upside down by standing out here and protesting and not getting the vaccine, or getting the vaccine, leaving regardless of your decision, being terminated regardless of your decision. So we just want the community to know it's not just our rights we're fighting for. We're fighting for the rights of our patients, the visitors that come in, our rights, the rights of the community.
The Stop the Mandate rally is scheduled for this Saturday, beginning at 9 a.m. at Christiana's main campus.
Still on the COVID front, 2 Newcastle County school districts are willing to pay employees who are vaccinated. The Colonial and Red Clay school districts are offering $100 to those who show their vaccination cards. The Colonial School District has about 1,500 employees and will use federal funds to make the payments to those who show proof by September 15th. No word yet if other districts in the state are planning similar incentive programs. In other news, it took 6 years and 4 separate bills to pass legislation increasing special education services to Delaware students in kindergarten through 3rd grade. Governor John Carney signed the legislation this week.
These funds will help put actual educators, lessen the class size, and really promote early identification, intervention for these students. Schools are required to provide these services, whether there's funding there or not, but this will help with the resources, the bodies, the educators, and all the resources the kids need in order to be successful.
In more legislative news, Governor John Carney signed 7 pieces of legislation into law this Wednesday. 3 of the bills focus on domestic violence, assisting victims and addressing the root causes of violence by providing programs for first offenders.
So one of the bills today addressed a gap and an issue that we have in trying to provide diversion for individuals who find themselves for the first time involved with the criminal justice system. Through diversion, offenders can take accountability, have intervention and support services so that they can address whatever the issues are that are causing the violence in their lives. And that way keep them out of the criminal justice system, because if they complete that and they do it well within that year's time, then they can have those charges dismissed completely off their record. So we want to make sure that people have those kinds of opportunities.
Another law removes firearms from the home of anyone charged with a domestic offense. Consumers will have an easier time canceling automatically renewed contracts under another bill signed by the governor. And finally, 2 bills focused on nursing licenses, allowing nurse practitioners to open independent practices. The bills were passed in the legislative session that ended June 30th. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. There's more news ahead. We're back in just 60 seconds.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out.
Good night. And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Oh boy.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Delaware, like many states across the country, is looking for more school bus drivers and aides. There was a shortage before the pandemic, but officials say it has worsened because the average age of drivers puts them into a higher COVID risk category. School districts and charter schools have been working hard to recruit new employees to no avail. With schools reopening soon, the pressure is really on to get more drivers and aides. Several measures have been taken. The state is offering a stipend to those who complete the training requirements, and there's an offer for higher pay. Those interested can contact DOE at the number on your screen.
Newcastle County Police have seen a spike in overdose calls, with most connected to heroin and fentanyl. In recent days, first responders have been unusually busy, and reports indicate 3 people have died. If you or someone you know is struggling with drug addiction, help is available by applying for the Hero Help program. It offers recovery treatment services even for those without insurance. For more information, call the Delaware Help Hope line at 833-9-HOPE-DE.
More than $1 million worth of drugs, along with dozens of guns and $180,000 in cash, won't hit the streets thanks to a major drug bust. And investigators say a 52-year-old Newark woman is among 10 new defendants charged in connection with what's considered to be a major heroin and fentanyl drug ring. Desiree Gibbs and 9 other people have been charged by the U.S. Department of Justice. 4 others are already indicted. 7.5 kilograms of heroin and fentanyl was confiscated, with 14.5 pounds of methamphetamines.
State Auditor Kathy McGinnis wants to turn everyone into a citizen watchdog, and she recently launched a website to help them become just that. The so-called Gray Fox Initiative will track where and how a second wave of COVID-19 federal funds are being spent in Delaware. The state portal will be made available to municipalities, cities, towns, counties, along with districts and school agencies that get the money. So far, only about a dozen towns have joined the site. For those communities that have not joined the initiative, the state auditor says it's up to the citizens who live there to encourage their officials to do so.
If you've driven I-95 through Wilmington, you already know it's a nightmare. Well, buckle up. There's yet another new traffic pattern to follow on the southbound I-95 part of the project from 202 to the 295 split. It means more exit and entrance changes to get in and out of the city. The only good news, DelDOT plans to have all ramps and lanes reopened by February of 2023. Yes, that's a long time, so pack your patience when you're driving 95. And if road construction and traffic get you stressed, this next story is for you. Here's DETV's health and wellness correspondent Donnie Beaujolais-Smith with more about this silent killer.
Well, we've heard it before, stress kills, but I never really believed it until I started looking more deeply into the evidence. And guess what? It does. See, when we get stressed, chemicals and hormones literally surge throughout our body. At a particularly stressful time, you can feel your heart rate increase, break out in a cold sweat. For many, they can get an instant headache or stomach pains. But here's the thing, stress should be temporary. Those symptoms I just described should decrease or go away once the stressful situation subsides. Unfortunately, a shocking amount of people live with daily and extreme stress. When surveyed, 80% of Americans reported they'd had at least one stress symptom in the past month. 20% reported being under extreme stress. That means those chemicals and hormones are surging through the body on a rapid-fire basis every single day. And it's this level of chronic stress that can lead to many negative health outcomes. Chronic stress can lead to weight gain, high blood pressure, sleep problems, memory fogginess. And if that wasn't bad enough, it can also lead to osteoporosis, type 2 diabetes, and weaken your immune system such that you're vulnerable to a host of various infections. Look, I don't want to give out a bunch of scary facts without offering real-life suggestions. When I first started thinking about stress and its impact on health, my own health included, I turned to a close friend of mine that I had watched go through a period of chronic stress and the tools she put in place to manage her life. Ingrid Austin is a newly single mother of 3 amazing children who found herself at a crossroads when she had to recreate her life after going through a divorce, moving her family to a new home, and transitioning back into the workforce after being a stay-at-home mom.
I guess the very beginning was going through a divorce. That's just generally stressful. I have 3 kids, so managing a divorce and children simultaneously was a lot for me. This was all consuming because everything changed. With my, before you would have stress, but you would be able to come home and let go of it. But this stress was at the root, was at the home. So there was really no escaping, and it affected really everything. I initially thought that meditation would be helpful, only because I had heard about it. I didn't know a lot about it. I did some online research and I learned about the Calm app. A few of the things that I took away from the meditation was just really taking a moment and slowing down, changing my perspective in that sense was really helpful. And then the other big thing I got from meditating is just really finding gratitude in things. So I started that in 2016 and I've really built a consistent yoga practice since then. But when the pandemic happened, I feel like I doubled down on it. Things had gotten stressful again, like the stress level had gotten higher, and I really tuned into my meditation and yoga practice. I still meditate at least 10 minutes a day. Sometimes I'll do several sessions. I wake up, I usually do 10 minutes before I get out of bed. I'll try and do a yoga practice during lunchtime if I can. And then I'll try and do a meditation practice again before bed. So lately I've been getting closer to 20 minutes meditating. Having meditation in my toolbox, I also just meditate whenever I feel stressed. or if I have a moment and I just need to calm my mind down, I'll do it at any point, whenever I can get those 10 minutes.
Ingrid is not alone. So many people have to develop coping mechanisms to get through periods of stress. Here are a few more suggestions to help you get through a tough time. 1, meditation. Ingrid shared how she incorporated 10 minutes a day into her routine. And there are a number of free guided programs and apps as well as YouTube if you would like to give it a try. 2, physical activity. For Ingrid, she discovered yoga as a way to ease some of her stress symptoms. And just recently on this very show, we were talking about the power of 30 minutes of walking. 3, journaling. Writing down our pain, but also the things we are grateful for, help to release stress and remind us that bad situations are temporary. 4, support. Find that one person you can talk to. Ingrid and I call our version of support safe sister spaces. And when we invoke that term, we know that we can share the hardest parts of our lives with no judgment and total privacy. 5, therapy. You and your friends, even the ones you feel safe with, are not experts in healing from trauma, grief, or stress. If you have access, get therapy. The one reality is that no one is spared from stress. It happens to all of us. But you can armor yourself to recognize what you're going through, manage your symptoms, and use tools and resources to help you develop the coping mechanisms to get through stressful times. It can literally save your life. I'm Donnie Woodgley-Smith. This is your Health and Wellness Report for the week. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Donnie. Now here's something that may have rattled some nerves this week. Many Delawareans in Newcastle County felt the earth move yesterday morning around 11:30, but scientists say it was not an earthquake. It turns out the loud boom and shaking was likely caused by an experimental explosion at the Aberdeen Proving Grounds in Maryland. Now, there was a weak earthquake reported southwest of Columbia, Maryland Wednesday, but that occurred around 2 a.m. and would not have been felt at 11:30 a.m. here in Delaware. Closer to home now, Newcastle County Police are asking anyone with information about a 35-year-old murder suspect to please give them a call. Justin Michael Chauffeur is charged with first-degree murder and stalking in connection with the February killing of his estranged girlfriend, Nicole Crawford. Now, Crawford's mother contacted police after the murdered woman's employer called to say she had not reported to work. Investigators found Crawford's remains in her bedroom. Police identified Chauffeur as a suspect over the course of a multi-state investigation. Anyone with information about Chauffeur who uses the name Justin Giarantino online can contact Detective Michael McNasby of the Newcastle County Police Department using the information on the bottom of your screen.
And Wilmington police are also seeking the public's assistance in connection to the 2012 murder of Anthony Newman. On June 12th, police responded to a shots fired call at the intersection of 10th and Pine Streets and found Newman gravely wounded. The investigation remains ongoing by the city's cold case unit. Anyone with information can contact investigator Robert Portlow at the number on your screen.
The State Fire Marshal's office is investigating a fatal house fire that occurred Tuesday morning in Newcastle. The blaze was reported shortly after 10 a.m. on Simons Drive near Newcastle Avenue. The Holloway Terrace Fire Company arrived on the scene with smoke pouring from the one-story house. Firefighters and Newcastle County police officers rushed into the home to attempt to rescue, but found one person who was not identified already dead in the home. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. Now, an autopsy was scheduled for this week. Fire damage was estimated at $100,000.
It just got easier than ever to appeal a traffic ticket with the city of Wilmington. This week, an online ticket appeal process was launched to help drivers challenge a ticket. The online system also produces a record of all interactions with the city. An appeal decision will be made within 10 business days and will be delivered by email. Residents, business owners, and visitors can access the ticket appeal section on the city's website. In addition to the new online appeal process, the long-established written appeal process will still be around. That process is explained on the back of a ticket. We'll be right back. Sports is just around the corner, so stay with us.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. I can't lie and say it was easy. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Welcome back inside DETV. I'm Nick Alessandrini. A big week in pro sports for some Delaware athletes and our Philadelphia 76ers. But let's start with Nah'Shon Bones Hyland, who did hear his name called last Thursday night in the NBA draft. Hyland was selected with the 26th overall pick in the first round by the Denver Nuggets, and now will head out west to join reigning MVP Nikola Jokic. And the St. George's grad was coming off a sophomore campaign at VCU where he averaged just under 20 points per game and took home A10 Player of the Year honors. Bones becomes just the third Delaware high school player to be taken in the first round of the NBA draft. Look for Bones to make his Nuggets debut in the NBA Vegas Summer League this Sunday on NBA TV when Denver hosts Miami at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. A lot of eyes were on the Sixers as well on draft night, a lot anticipating maybe a Ben Simmons trade or a trade of that 28th overall pick, as Daryl Morey has alluded to. But Simmons, for now, is still in Philly, and the Sixers stayed put at that 28th spot. They selected the freshman guard from Tennessee, Jaden Springer. Springer averaged 12.5 points per game last season in the SEC and was a member of that SEC all-freshman team. The Sixers also made two moves in free agency by signing center Andre Drummond and then bringing in former Jazz bench player George Niang. Sixers open up Summer League in Vegas on Monday at 4 p.m. A Delaware native is coming back to join the hometown team. Former St. E's grad and 2012 High School Defensive Player of the Year here in Delaware, Andre Patton, has agreed to a deal last week with the Philadelphia Eagles. Patton spent the last 2 seasons on the Miami Dolphins and Arizona Cardinals practice squad after starting 5 games in 2019 with the Chargers. Now for some Delaware Little League action, as Cannell Little League defeated Camden Wyoming Little League last week 4-0 to take home that Delaware Little League Major State Championship. Canal pitcher Brody Fleming had a spectacular outing as he gave up just no runs in 6 innings with 7 strikeouts. Aiden Colley also had 2 hits in 3 at-bats, including a home run. Manager Kristen Caldwell and company will advance to the Eastern Regionals in Bristol, Connecticut, where they will play New Jersey on August 8th at 10 p.m., and you can catch that game on ESPN+. More accolades on the hardwood as the 16-under AAU team We Are One took home the Hoop Group Jersey Shore Jam Fest Championship. Led by Coach Rob Turner, players consisted of Amir Height from Dover, Dion Polk from Sanford, Chris Albero from Archmere, Amir Cunningham from Middletown, Jeremiah Herring from St. Elizabeth's, Anthony Aglio from CR, and Ishmael Dobson from Wilmington Friends. Congrats, fellas, on the championship. Now it's time for some more of our top plays of last season. We're going to get you started with 4 from last fall on the football field. And we're going to get started with Concord and Pharrell Howie. You're going to see him here against Apo, trailing 14-0 in the second quarter. He's going to break through that line, block the punt, and then scored himself as he falls on and in the end zone. Big play there at number 4 for Concord and a big score last fall. Now we go on to number 3. To go down to Milford and MARQUIS GILLIS. You may see him a little bit later on as well, but here he is, 34-14, fourth quarter action. He's going to break through the line in a similar trend. Block it. He's going to scoop it and score himself. MARQUIS GILLIS at number 3 with another blocked punt for a touchdown at 4 and 3 in this week's top plays. Now we're on to number 2, and it's going to be Philip Stratton, PJ Stratton from Sussex Central. Boy, we miss these foggy Friday nights in the fall. We're going to get back to them shortly, but here he is taking the handoff, and he's going to take it 59 yards. Reverses field all the way to the sideline, showing off the Jets there. Nobody going to be able to catch him. PJ Stratton for a 59-yard touchdown in a big game for the Golden Knights last season. And now to our top play here. It's MARQUIS GILLIS again. You know the name, saw him earlier. This time he's going to do it at the running back position here. Takes the carry and explodes right up the middle. Nobody even going to get a hand on him. Turns on the Jets at the 30-20-10, easily into the end zone for MARQUIS GILLIS. His second play of our top 4 this week. He's got 2 of them and a big play at number 1. That'll do it for sports this week. We're going to take a break. Make sure you stay right with us.
The COVID-19 vaccines can be our chance to get back to our plans, to get back to each other, to life. But it's okay to have questions, like, how were the vaccines tested? In rigorous clinical trials among adults of diverse backgrounds. Find the latest information at getvaccineanswers.org.
Welcome back. 3 Dover elementary schools have been transformed into free medical clinics for anyone in need of health care. It's all part of what's called the Greater Dover Health Blitz. More than 600 patients have already been seen in just the first 2 days of the 9-day event. Members of our armed forces will conduct basic wellness exams, dental care, eye exams, and even health and dietary consultations. Get there early, organizers say. People have been lining up before 7 a.m. to secure their spot. The Blitz will continue through August 9th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at North and South Dover Elementary Schools, as well as Town Point Elementary. Now, all services are free and there's no need for ID or insurance. And by the way, you do not have to be a Dover resident to get those free services. Some people, they say, have come as far away as Philadelphia. Soon the Powerball will be drawn not 1, not 2, but 3 times a week. That's right, beginning at the end of the month, a new Powerball drawing will be held an additional night each week. The additional weekly drawings start August 23rd. It means you have the chance to hit the jackpot on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. The starting cash prize, $20 million, will remain the same, and the game will continue to cost just $2. Tickets can be purchased up until 9:45 p.m. on the night of a drawing. Good luck.
And Matt, there's hope Mother Nature will bring us some good luck. Here's a look at the weekend forecast. It looks like Mother Nature is going to cooperate for the largest free jazz festival on the East Coast. The Clifford Brown Jazz Festival is back on Rodney Square, and DETV News will be bringing you wall-to-wall coverage. Our own Ivan Thomas is there. Ivan, what's going on at the square?
So there was another dynamic night here in Wilmington. The 34th annual Clifford Brown Jazz Festival has taken off, and I have to tell you, it was simply amazing. Artists such as, and I'm gonna give you just a rundown of the artists that you can expect to see, is the Boise Lowry Living Jazz Residents, the Clifford Brown Festival Orchestra, Diane Reeves, Eric Benet, Gerald Veasley, and Grover Washington Jr. Wow. I'm telling you, there's a lot happening here in Wilmington. As you can see right now, they are actually taking down the stage because tonight was just simply amazing.
Thanks, Ivan. Get a backstage pass here on DETV, where we will be airing interviews with the artists. Check us out on Channel 28, on Facebook, or at detvch.com. The performances start at 5 o'clock from today until Sunday. Now, here's a look at the show's rundowns for the week. In news from Sussex County, talks continue to make the area safer for pedestrians with a focus on Coastal Highway. DelDOT is looking at locations frequented by pedestrians and cyclists. For example, connecting residential areas to shopping centers or community services. A single bridge would cost about $4 to $8 million, depending on the size and materials that are needed. And the city of Lewis may soon pay special recognition to a portion of the city's beach that was once segregated. The beach would be called the Johnny Walker Beach. During the Jim Crow era, that was the place where people of color vacationed and soaked up the sun. The Lewis African American Heritage Commission said the beach was the home of the well-known Johnny Walker restaurant. Walker opened the restaurant in the late 60s and created a fun and accepting environment for everyone. If approved, the Parks and Recreation Commission will bring the proposal to the mayor and the city council in September. If anyone has photographs or memories of what was once called Beach 2 and would like to share them, you are asked to contact the African American Heritage Commission in Lewis.
The Wilmington Police Department is recruiting for the 101st Police Academy. Applicants must satisfy several requirements, including being 21 years old, a U.S. citizen, a high school graduate, and have a valid driver's license. The recruitment process includes a physical and written test, a polygraph exam, drug screening, and an extensive background investigation. Starting salary is just over $53,000, and the deadline to apply is August 31st. Visit the website below for more information or call 302-576-3177. A campaign to lower prescription drug prices has come to Delaware. Protect Our Care launched a digital ad in the first state as part of a 7-figure campaign about the skyrocketing cost of prescription drugs. The ad is part of a national campaign running in 15 states that seeks comprehensive federal legislation to lower drug prices, including allowing Medicare to negotiate pricing with drug companies. The ads will run through August.
Dîner en Blanc is making a comeback in Wilmington this fall following the COVID-19 pandemic. This year's theme, the Roaring '20s. The rules for the outdoor Parisian-style picnic are still the same. Wear all white and be creative and get with the theme. Don't forget to pack your own table, linens, chairs, plates, and all the decorative touches that make that event special. Attendees can bring their own food and wine or champagne or indulge in prepaid catered meals that can be picked up on site. Dîner en Blanc began in Paris more than 3 decades ago. It's now held in more than 90 cities. This year's event will be smaller due to public health concerns with a maximum of 2,500 people. Extra safety measures will also be in place to follow large gathering guidelines. The ticketed event will be on Saturday, September 25th, rain or shine. And as always, the location of the event remains a mystery until you get there, which makes it even more fun. Matt, I attended both of the Dîner en Blanc events that were held in Wilmington and was even a volunteer at the last one held on Market Street, and it really is a magical event.
That's great. I haven't been to the one in Wilmington yet. I hope to get there, but I've been to the one in Philadelphia twice. And as you can imagine, just like you said, it was super magical. All the lights, everybody dressed in white. It was amazing.
And finally, Matt, here's a doggone good way to end our week in review. The city of Dover has a new police officer, but this one has 4 paws and a tail. Roy, a 2.5-year-old yellow lab and golden retriever mix, just joined the force as a facility dog. He'll be a part of the community policing unit. Roy's primary job will be to serve as an ambassador to the department, attend community outreach events, schools, and help calm and comfort crime victims, witnesses, and anyone else who may be afraid, uncomfortable, or nervous during a police encounter. In just 2 weeks' time, Roy is already one of the most popular officers in the police department.
Way to go, Roy. All right. Well, that'll do it for your Delaware Week in Review. For all of us here at DETV, I'm Matt Ford.
And I'm Lauren Wilson. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
DETV News is brought to you by DART, Delaware Public Transit Service, moving you forward.